Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Late Night Football's Match Reaction Show. It's finished Everton 2, Arsenal 1, and you gotta say, I mean, it's on the balance of form. It's not an upset. It's you expect Arsenal to lose this one on the balance of form, but I gotta say, the fact that you can say that Everton picked up an expected win, I think that kind of shows how far. I don't know what's my happened to my nose, but it shows how far Arsenal have fallen this season, and I mean it's getting tougher and tougher for Arsenal fans. I'm sure it's getting tougher and tougher for Arsenal fans to justify Arteta's position. But I wonder how tough it's getting for the board as well to keep backing Arteta, week after week after week. Um, but a few things to point out. I think Everton played really well today. They had a game plan that they came out with. I thought this would be an interesting game because Everton like to play expansive football, even though the lack of their offensive fullbacks in Seamus Coleman and Luca Digne means that they can't be as expansive and expressive as they want to be. But they start to expansive football, and Arteta's team specializes in counterattacks and parking the bus. So, this was an opportunity for Arsenal to try to get a win. What helped Everton is the fact that because their two fullbacks are not very expressive today, and Godfrey and Holgate, what helped is that they didn't have to. They at least had that security blanket where they were not overrun on the wings. I don't know if it would have made much of a difference today considering who was playing, but but that helped them out a lot. I think that's helped them out a lot defensively. I think it doesn't give them as much offensive oomph as they probably would like, but having Godfrey and Holgate as the fullbacks helps them at least be secure defensively. Um, but the first goal actually came from some very good fullback play. Now, here's interesting to that first goal is Tom Davies. Someone who I saw him a few years ago when he had that amazing game against Manchester City, where Everton completely destroyed Manchester City. I believe it was 4-0 at the end, which was the start of Guardiola's reinvention, and took City to the Centurion achievement the next season. That I think that was the game that started it. I think he realized the kind of troubles he had. But in that game, I thought Tom Davies was excellent, and I had high hopes that he would become something. And he, somehow he stalled. He hasn't really been, he's a bit reckless at times. He's not very good, and he showed that today as well. But in that first goal, he actually did very, very well. I thought Willian was absolutely. I think he didn't want. I don't know whether it was positional. I don't know whether he was thinking, oh, it's Tom Davis, and I don't have to worry about it. But he lets Davis run. He picks out a pass to Holgate, I think, which gets to Iwobi, and then the cross comes in, and Calvert-Lewin hits it onto Holding, and it bounces into the goal. It was an unfortunate own goal, but it was Arsenal's own doing. And I put this out tweet as well. The second goal as well, again, set piece header from Yerry, Mina, completely unmarked. You don't want to do that. It was the first goal Arsenal have conceded from a set piece this season in the Premier League. So it shows you a little bit the issues. And I put this tweet out. I said Arsenal have looked toothless in attack, and they did. Aside from Tom Davis's pretty daft decision to try to foul Maitland-Niles, and this was after Maitland-Niles, the ball had already gone away, so it was just lazy from Davis. And he has these moments where his bulb sort of switches off, his tube light sort of switches off, and that was that moment for him. But aside from that, Arsenal were pretty toothless in attack. They, in the first half at least, they had created next to nothing, and even in the second half, but we'll come to that. But the problem was the defense that was pretty poor. I thought the defense was pretty poor throughout the game. They weren't being able to deal with a lot of things that Everton were doing, and that is a worry because Arsenal Arteta's bread and butter at the moment is the fact that he's got a very solid defense, and he's not getting it right now. Then that's a problem, and then what's left for him to offer to this Arsenal side, because if the defense is also crumbling. There are a few issues there, but I'll talk about the second half first. The thing that about the second half was, obviously, I think Everton came out of the plan that they were going to sit back and not counter, but their plan was to hit long balls, because I think they figured out that neither Holding nor Luiz can deal with the long balls to Calvert-Lewin. So every time it was Pickford trying to pick out a long ball to Calvert-Lewin, who would then just head it on either to Richarlison or to Iwobi, and then see if they could make something of it. And there were a few times where they caught Arsenal out, where I thought a better pass, a better anticipation might have led to a third goal. I think Everton should have killed that game off, and they didn't. Arsenal started the second half really well, probably because of the fact that Everton had this long ball counter idea. So Arsenal had a lot more space in the midfield, so they were able to ping passes through. I thought towards the end of that game, the last 2-3 minutes were frantic, where I thought Arsenal could have pulled it out, but not having a proper striker, not having Aubameyang. Not that he scored a goal. He just recently scored a goal, so you'd hope that he's going to be able to go on a run. but he wasn't available today. You had Pepe, who for me is I still don't, I can't understand what I think he's a sort of a poor man Sterling at this point. The way he misses chances, he's not as good as Sterling, by the way. In terms of the good things that Sterling does, but in some terms of the bad things that Sterling does, he's even worse than Sterling when it comes to missing chances and creativity. So for me, I mean, it's a difficult thing. I think Saka was pretty good today. I thought Martinelli looked good when he came in, and maybe that is the future. Maybe from now to the end of the season, they've got to look at Saka and Martinelli as their two wingers. The issue, of course, is who's going to play in that middle. Is it Aubameyang? Probably it's got to be Aubameyang. Is it maybe try and build something around those three? Maybe those three together might be able to lift Arsenal up, because I don't think Willian can hack it. I think Willian and Pepe were both abysmal today. I mean, really atrocious. The way both of them played. And then there still leaves that issue of who's going to play as the third midfielder. I don't know, but they've got to figure that out and see where the creativity is coming from. Maybe it's a midfield three of Ceballos, Elneny, and Partey. Maybe that is going forward. That's their three, and then you have those three in the front, and maybe that might work. Maybe, but they'll have to think long and hard. But they look good in those last few minutes, but look good in patches. I thought Arsenal today looked otherwise for the full 90 minutes. I think Everton deserved their win. The issue that I think defensively, the problem now for Arsenal is they can be solid defensively, but the problem is because they have such a non-existent goal threat up front. Most defenses are like, fair enough. You can park the bus. We're going to try and dominate possession. We're going to try and find gaps, because no matter how good of a defense you have, if you don't have an attack that can pressure the opposition offense, it doesn't matter, because ultimately good teams will be able to find a way through. Or if your midfield is a little bit shaky, if your offense is a little bit shaky, it allows more time for the defenders. The defenders are a bit more relaxed, more comfortable. You can't have that, and that's why I always talk about even with Liverpool, right? You try to see people always trying to park the bus against Liverpool. That doesn't work, because you need to pressure that back line, so there's something that you have for them to think about, and maybe a reason for them to drop back, because otherwise, it's just passing practice, and eventually, if you if you hit anything enough times, something just stick, right? Even if you're that bad, but most teams in the Premier League are pretty good. And so it's a suicidal tactic. And in some ways, for Arsenal, they're struggling at the moment because their attack and their midfield is so lackluster. Premier League teams know that they can afford to be a little bit more expansive, be a little bit more offensive minded, and that's affecting Arsenal's defense in that they're having to deal with more than they probably want to, and they're not getting enough support from their front for the players in front of them. But take nothing away from that, Everton have been exceptionally well today. It's a good morale boosting win. I think they'll be disappointed that they considered the penalty goal. I don't think Arsenal, in that first half created enough to get a goal, but they got lucky. And at that point you think, okay, let's get to halftime and let's see this out. But Arsenal being Arsenal, they allowed Everton to get ahead at the end of that first half, and then it was a matter of Everton just seeing the game out, and they did that. Credit to them, they did that. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint what exactly is going wrong at Arsenal. There's so many things that are going wrong. Where the change is going to come from? I thought today defensively, maybe you could make an excuse for the fact that they were missing Gabriel, they were missing Berwin. Maybe that was an issue. I don't think Maitland-Niles played that badly. I thought he was probably one of their better players today. And maybe he deserves a run in the side now. I think I know a lot of people criticize Berwin, so maybe he deserves a run in the side. David Luiz, yeah, you could say that Gabriel is an upgrade on David Luiz, and David Luiz was coming back from an injury, but I mean, you still expect an international caliber player to do better than in terms of organization. I thought there was no support, particularly I think today, because Arsenal was sort of playing a 4-4-2 in some ways, like some kind of 4-4-2 variation they were trying to play, or maybe a 4-4-1-1. You need support because your midfield is going to be overpacked because it's 2 against 3. You need support from the forwards. You need support from the wingers to track back and to provide that support, and they weren't getting that today. I don't think they did that enough today. So there are issues. There are issues for Arsenal. They knows. But now the big thing will be for Arsenal, I think, is the next game against Manchester City. In some ways, it's 1990, right? Isn't it? 2020, 1990? Well, I mean, that was 1990 early 1990. This is probably 2020, late 2020. But it feels like a Mark Robbins moment upcoming, isn't it? Because right now Arteta's claim to fame is the fact that he's a cup specialist. So if he loses to Manchester City, what does that mean for Arsenal? I think Arsenal should stay with him and with Arteta until at least they get knocked out of the Europa League, because I think they have a shot there. I think keeping that stability for that tournament, I think, will be important. So I don't think this Carabao Cup or FA Cup should be too much stock placed in it. But that being said, If he loses to Manchester City, the hands will probably get a bit twitchy because City aren't at their best right now. You're not talking about Manchester City that's the imperious Manchester City of 2 years ago. You're talking about Manchester City that's right now scraping results, getting by, doing just enough to win games, sometimes not doing enough. So it's a bit of an inconsistent team at the moment. So you got to say that they are there for the taking, and Arsenal have beaten them before. So there is that. But if he loses that game, then what's to stop fans from saying, well, he's not a cup specialist anymore either. But I think that Carabao Cup game now is almost as important as the FA Cup game was for Manchester United in 1990. It feels that way, doesn't it? In some cases where if he wins, there might be something to build on, but if he loses, that's going to be tough. But I don't know. What do Arsenal fans think? Do you think Arteta deserves more time? Do you think Arteta should be sacked? Irrespective, I don't know. I have no idea about that. What you would think as Arsenal fans. So let me know in the comments. What do you think? Where do you think you stand, or where do you stand on Arteta's position at the club? Because for me, it's difficult to say Arsenal were never going to finish top four. Now that was a pipe dream for anybody. Maybe they should have finished top seven. They're not going to finish top seven. It doesn't look like they're going to finish top seven. I don't think they're going to get relegated, though. I don't think that's going to happen. I think people are going a bit overboard. But we've seen now Crystal Palace probably getting a little bit sucked in as well. So there are more teams, and Newcastle also getting sucked in. So teams are getting sucked in there. And the more teams there are, I think the easier chance for Arsenal to escape that. So I don't think Arsenal will get relegated. I don't think they'll finish in the European spots. So then the question is, it comes to the cups, right? That's the only way they're going to play European football next season. So, and Arteta has shown that he can win cups. He can do well in cups. So do you stick with him for that? Or do you say, you know what, for a team of Arsenal's caliber, irrespective of where Arsenal's ambitions are, the fact that they're doing so badly in the league should reflect the fact that he should be sacked. But I mean, that's a question for Arsenal fans. So let me know what you think in the comments section. Also, please remember to like this video if you enjoyed the mini analysis, mini reaction. And also, please subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're just growing into 120 subscribers. We want to try and grow this channel, and we need your support for that. And we want to keep producing. I want to keep producing this kind of engaging content, this kind of regular content. So your subscription really helps with that. So please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day or night, whatever time you're watching this. We'll be back tomorrow with reactions for the Tottenham Leicester game and the Manchester United Leeds game, two really big games in the context of the Premier League top four spots, I believe. Well, you could say in Spurs' case for the title race, and United's case probably for the top four, top seven spots. So, two big games, and we'll be keeping an eye on those as well, and we'll have reactions and analysis for that tomorrow. But thank you so much for watching. Have a great time, and congratulations to Everton fans if you're watching this. Congratulations on the win. Arsenal fans, well, there's always next week. So keep your hopes up, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.